It's been a minute since I last posted here. The last time I posted, I was telling you about a book that I had just self-published and which is already selling on Amazon. Due to that, I thought it would be necessary for me to start a series where I explain to you the step-by-step procedures that I took to get to a point where I had self-published a book. The title of the book is The Budding Tree. It is currently selling on Amazon, on my website, and I'm also doing home deliveries. Today, I would like us to speak about the process of writing and editing a book for self-publishing. For you to start writing a script and see it to completion, it is an achievement in itself. And one of the main reasons why people do not finish a script is lack of motivation. Sometimes they blame it on a writer's block and many other factors. Sometimes you even lack the motivation or the story just ends in between in your head. So to ensure that this does not happen, you need to come up with a formula. I started with an introduction, a body, and a finish. So because this was a story that I was passionate about, I knew that I wanted to bring it to completion. And one of the ways to do it is to figure out how my end will be. Different authors have different ways in which they achieve this. For me, I needed to see the end before I saw the beginning. So I started by writing my introduction, my middle, and my end. And I wrote down what the end would look like. Then I figured how the beginning will look like, and then I started filling in the body of the story. To fill in the information in the book, I needed to come up with different chapters. Of course, I did not know what will go on what chapter, but I needed to know how the flow of the story will be. And by coming up with the chapters of the book, I was able to figure exactly what I'm writing in each chapter. The next thing I needed to figure is a time every day in which I'll be writing the book. I'm one of the people who has been affected by what is called a writer's block, an experience where you write until your mind is blocked and you can't write any further. I really did not want that to happen to me, and one of the ways I fought with that is to actually come up with the chapters. So every day I set out at least 2 hours in a day to be able to write my book, and in those 2 hours I followed the structure that I had created for myself. And anytime I felt that information was becoming slow in my mind, I went back and read through my script to the point where I was, and funny enough, I was able to continue with the script. I started writing the script in November 2018. I finished in February 2019, and I was so proud of myself when I eventually wrote the words "the end" at the end of my script. So once that was done, I knew that the other steps that I needed to take, because I didn't just want people to read a script. I had spelling errors, I had sentence construction errors, and then in some places even the story did not have a perfect flow. So I knew that I needed to proofread my book by myself before I even felt confident enough to let anybody else read my script. So to do this, because I'm the one who wrote the book and it can become quite boring to read something that you've written yourself, I needed to increase the font of the typing. I typed on my computer, so I increased the font, and then I printed out the entire book. It was about 20,000 words. It was a small book, so I needed to print everything out and then be able to read it manually and correct it manually. So I did that, and then I started reading it manually and correcting the spelling errors, the places where I felt the story was not flowing, I needed to correct it, and the sentence constructions. So once I did all that, I knew it was time for me to find another form of editing. And before I gave anyone else my work, I decided that it was time to download and use Grammarly. What Grammarly does is check on grammatical errors, sentence constructions, and spellings. So I uploaded my work on Grammarly, and I was able to sieve out the different errors that I had done, and I corrected them. Once that was done, and I had corrected everything on my computer, I again read through my script to make sure that I was confident in myself. I can tell you for sure that the most intimidating thing for any author outside there is to actually hand someone else your script so that they can read it and correct it. You're usually intimidated thinking, did I write something that makes sense? Is it going to be relevant? And you're really afraid of so many things. So my point was to make sure that my script was, in my best of my knowledge, the perfect form to give to someone else to read. At this point, I felt more confident now to give my script to an editor. And to get an editor, first I went to Upwork. I was very specific about the kind of editor I wanted because my book, it was a passion project. Because my character was a Christian woman who was struggling with different situations in life, I thought it would be important for me to get a woman editor and to get a Christian editor, just so that they can relate. Another qualification for an editor I was looking for is someone who will be able to edit the script without changing its meaning or the tone of the book. So once I did that, I forwarded a blurb of my book to the editor, and she confirmed to me that it was a nice script. Unfortunately, we were not able to agree in payment terms, so I thought it would be more economically sensible for me to find an editor that I knew, or somebody that I could relate with, meet with, and even negotiate in terms of prices. Because I've worked in different fields where I'm exposed to authors and editors, I was able to find an editor who I knew and who went through my book. Again, I sent them first the blurb and they confirmed that it's something they would like to read. So I sent them the script and they edited it. My editor took about a week to edit my book, and guys, I must tell you that an editor will teach you so much about your writing style and about who you are. I hope you've learned something about the process of writing and self-editing your script. Next time, I will be telling you about what I learned from my editor and the points that he brought out of my writing style. Until then, I hope you do have a good day. Bye!